Have you ever looked at the world around you and felt a sense of profound change? A feeling that old structures are cracking, that hidden truths are coming to the surface? For thousands of years, humanity has turned to prophetic literature to make sense of such moments. These ancient texts, filled with powerful imagery and deep symbolism, speak of what is often called the end times. But what if this term doesn't mean what we think it does? What if it's not about a final, fiery end, but something far more nuanced, more cyclical, more human? Today we embark on a journey, not to predict the future, but to understand the past and its echo in our present. We will step into the world of Hebrew prophetic tradition, a world that saw history not as a straight line, but as a grand unfolding story of justice, correction, and renewal. Our guide will be the central figure in these visions, Yahowah. We will explore how this name, this concept, is woven through themes of collapsing empires, shifting consciousness, and the relentless pursuit of balance. Our goal is to decode the language of the prophets, to peel back the layers of metaphor, and see the timeless patterns they described. This is not about fear or dogmatic certainty. It is about wisdom. It is about understanding the powerful critiques of power, the calls for justice, and the enduring hope for restoration that are embedded in these sacred and ancient writings. Join me as we seek to understand the profound visions that have shaped our world. When we hear the phrase end times, our minds often conjure images of cosmic destruction, a final cataclysm that brings history to a definitive close. But in the landscape of Hebrew tradition, the concept is profoundly different. The original language points not to an absolute end, but to a transition, a turning point. It speaks of an era's conclusion, paving the way for a new beginning. It is less about the end of the world and more about the end of a world, an age, or an unjust system. It is a divine audit, a moment of profound correction. The prophets of ancient Israel were not fortune tellers predicting a distant apocalypse. They were social commentators, spiritual guides, speaking to the crises of their own time. Their end-time visions were diagnoses of a sick society. They saw corruption in the halls of power, neglect of the poor and the vulnerable, and a turning away from foundational principles of justice and compassion. The end they spoke of was the end of that brokenness. It was a vision of consequences, yes, but consequences that were meant to purify, to correct, and to heal. So the focus shifts from destruction to restoration. The core of this prophetic vision is the promise of renewal. It's about a great revealing, where things hidden in darkness, injustice, deceit, oppression, are brought into the harsh light of day to be judged. It is the promise that after the winter of correction comes the spring of a new covenant, a time when society is reordered according to principles of righteousness and balance. The end time is not the final page, but the turning of a page to a chapter of profound and necessary change. As we journey deeper into this prophetic literature, recurring motifs begin to appear, like musical themes in a grand symphony. One of the most powerful is the collapse of empires. The prophets watched the great powers of their day, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, rise and fall. They saw these seemingly invincible empires as transient, built on foundations of arrogance and violence. Their collapse was not a random event, but a natural consequence, a divine judgment against hubris and the oppression they wielded. This theme serves as a timeless reminder that no earthly power is absolute. Another core theme is the gathering of the scattered. Throughout their history, the people of Israel experienced exile and dispersion, a scattering across nations. The prophetic promise, however, was one of eventual return and reunification. This is not merely a physical gathering, but a spiritual and cultural one. It speaks to the restoration of identity, the healing of a fractured community, and the re-establishment of a people in their purpose. It is a powerful metaphor for reclaiming what was lost, for finding home after a long and difficult journey through the wilderness of history. And with this restoration comes a profound shift. The visions speak of a judgment on corrupt leadership, kings, priests, and judges who failed in their duty to uphold justice. They also foretell the revelation of hidden knowledge, a moment when the veils of ignorance and deception are torn away. This leads to a shift in consciousness, a new way of seeing the world and one's place in it. It culminates in the promise of a new covenant order, not written on stone tablets, but on the human heart, a world remade from the inside out. To hear these prophecies as literal predictions is to miss their poetic power and profound depth. The prophets were masters of metaphor, using a rich vocabulary of symbols to convey their messages. When they spoke of terrifying beasts with multiple horns, they were not describing literal monsters. These beasts were code for empires, and the horns represented the rulers and dynasties that wielded power within them. A great and fearsome beast was a metaphor for a brutal, conquering nation like Babylon or Rome, its features symbolizing its specific character of dominance and violence. This symbolic language extends throughout their visions. Mountains, in this context, do not always refer to geological formations. They often represent kingdoms or seats of power, great, immovable structures that dominate the political landscape. To see a mountain crumble or be laid low was to witness the fall of a great kingdom. Similarly, celestial events, stars falling from the sky, the sun and moon darkening, were not astronomical forecasts. They were powerful metaphors for the overthrow of rulers and the collapse of the cosmic and social order they represented. Even the winds, seals, and trumpets that feature so prominently in apocalyptic literature are part of this symbolic tapestry. The four winds can represent divine judgment or major geopolitical shifts coming from all corners of the earth. The breaking of seals signifies the unleashing of sequential stages of judgment or revelation: famine, war, pestilence, and conquest. The sounding of trumpets acts as a divine announcement, a herald of a major event, a call to attention before a world-altering change. Understanding this symbolic code is the key to unlocking the true, timeless message of the prophets. At the very heart of these prophetic visions stands the figure of Yahowah. But this is not a deity of arbitrary destruction or capricious wrath. Instead, the role of Yahowah is consistently portrayed as that of a cosmic restorer of balance. In a world thrown into chaos by human greed, injustice, and arrogance, Yahowah is the force that realigns the scales. The visions are, in essence, a manifestation of this divine correction. They are the playing out of consequences, where every action of oppression inevitably meets an equal and opposite reaction of judgment. Yahowah is, above all, the great exposer of injustice. The prophets paint a picture of a divine being who sees what is done in secret, who hears the cries of the oppressed that are ignored by earthly rulers. The prophetic act itself is one of revelation, Yahowah bringing hidden corruption into the light for all to see. In this role, Yahowah is the ultimate defender of the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. The collapse of empires and the judgment of kings are not acts of random violence, but the direct result of their failure to protect the most vulnerable members of society. Therefore, the end-time vision is fundamentally about correction, not annihilation. It is Yahowah acting as a divine physician, administering a harsh medicine to a sick world. The purpose is not to kill the patient, but to cure the disease of injustice. The fire described is not one of final destruction, but of purification, burning away the dross so that what is pure and true can remain. The ultimate goal is restoration, the renewal of a covenant based on righteousness, and the bringing of hidden truth to light, so that a healthier, more just world can finally emerge. The power of these ancient texts is evident in how they continue to resonate today, though they are seen through many different lenses. In modern Judean and some Jewish thought, the focus remains firmly on the core principles of justice and healing. The end times are interpreted less as a single apocalyptic event and more as a continuous historical process. It is the long, arduous journey toward Tikkun Olam, the healing of the world. Prophecy is seen as a moral compass, guiding humanity toward creating a just society here and now, a world free of oppression and filled with compassion. For many within the Jewish community, these texts are also read through the painful lens of historical trauma, the exiles, the pogroms, the Holocaust. The prophetic themes of scattering and gathering, of suffering and eventual restoration, are not abstract concepts. They are the lived experience of a people. The hope for a messianic era is a hope for an end to persecution, a final return to safety and sovereignty, and a vindication of their endurance through centuries of hardship. The prophecies become a testament to survival and an enduring promise of ultimate justice. In contrast, much of popular Christian eschatology has focused on the apocalyptic elements, often interpreting the symbols of Daniel and Revelation as a literal roadmap to a future tribulation and the second coming of Christ. Meanwhile, secular and academic scholars often view this literature as a form of political critique, a coded language used by marginalized groups to resist oppressive empires without facing direct retribution. And culturally, the themes have been absorbed into our collective consciousness, surfacing in our art and movies as powerful metaphors for societal crisis, ecological collapse, and profound systemic change. It is a common human experience to look at our world and see echoes of these ancient prophetic writings. When we witness great nations facing internal division and external challenges, it is difficult not to think of the prophetic theme of collapsing empires. The warnings against arrogance, overreach, and internal decay seem to speak directly to the anxieties of our own time. These are not specific predictions coming true, but the recognition of a recurring historical pattern that systems built on unsustainable foundations will eventually face a moment of reckoning. Another powerful pattern is the exposure of hidden things. In an age of information, where secrets are harder than ever to keep, we see this theme play out in real time. Scandals in government, corruption in corporations, and abuses of power that were once concealed are brought into the public square with shocking speed. This great revealing, which the prophets saw as a divine act, now appears to be driven by technology and a global demand for transparency. It feels like a fulfillment of the promise that what is hidden in darkness will be brought into the light. We also see parallels in themes of ecological stress, social division, and a search for identity. The prophetic warnings of famines, plagues, and disruptions in the natural world resonate deeply in an era of climate change and pandemics. The descriptions of societies fractured by internal strife mirror our own political polarization. And in the midst of this, there is a widespread hunger for meaning, a desire to restore a sense of collective identity and purpose. Recognizing these recurring patterns is not about predicting the end. It is about using ancient wisdom to understand the challenges and transformations of our present moment. As we conclude our journey, one thing becomes clear. You're not imagining the parallels. Prophetic literature is written in a way that speaks to every era, especially moments of upheaval. Its power lies not in predicting specific events, but in identifying the timeless patterns of human civilization, the rise and fall of power, the cry for justice, the consequences of forgetting our shared humanity, and the enduring hope for renewal. These texts are a mirror, reflecting the challenges and choices that every generation must face. The visions of Yahowah, as seen through the eyes of the prophets, are a profound call to self-reflection. They ask us to examine the foundations of our own world. Are our systems just? Are we caring for the vulnerable? Are we living in balance with the world around us? The end time they describe is not a passive fate to be awaited, but an active choice to be made. It is the end of an old way of being and the beginning of a new one, should we have the courage to build it. The wisdom of the prophets is not about looking to the sky in fear, but about looking at one another with compassion. It is about recognizing that the work of correction, restoration, and revealing truth is a task for all of us, here and now. The symphony of history continues, and these ancient themes still echo, reminding us of the world that has been, and challenging us to imagine the world that could yet be. Thanks for watching.